Philadelphia, are you ready?
He said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
Welcome everybody to Brotherly Love Wrestling, and on today's show we have the Bulldozer himself, Mr. Matt Tremont. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, as we can see behind you, you got the H2O t-shirts, and you are mid-class right now, right?
Yes, the school now, the H2O Wrestling Academy is open 4 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, different trainer each night. Friday night's usually my night. Right now, Chuck Payne and Devin Moore are running class, and Friday nights is more beginners, intermediate class, so that they are starting from the basics and learning the fundamentals, 101 pro wrestling from the beginning.
I always had my biggest question when I hear that, like the beginners, like as a trainer and you get beginner class, and like is it often that you see someone and as soon as you see them they're like, wow, you got it? Like do you see many people that have that trait?
Every so often, and it's usually, at least for us, it has been the kids with the amateur wrestling background. They just have the ring awareness and the physicality. You know, they're already ahead of the turn and ahead of everybody else as far as once their training begins. We have a student Reed, student Marcus Mathers, all did amateur wrestling in high school, middle school, some of them their entire lives, and they just pick it up really, really quick. And it's a benefit to them, and they're the ones that are, learning quicker and getting opportunities a little quicker. So it definitely, we've had a few, and it's cool to see, because sometimes, especially pro wrestling, you either don't have it or you got it.
Now, do you guys do like promo work and whatnot there as well at the academy?
100%. Tuesdays are advanced nights, so a lot of it is the students that have already been working matches, that have moved up to our main roster. Tuesdays is run by Phineas James. Wednesday is run by Michael Keener, former ECW referee. Thursday is run by Mike Quest. He was a part of the Garden State Gods. They were a tag team in Jersey All-Pro in the very highlight days of JAPW. And then Fridays you have myself, just taking on the new kids that we have that are coming in. I used to run the Thursday class, but as the company has grown, tremendously in the last 6 months, I had to change my position with the school, and that's why I'm running Friday nights now. We're doing something right so far.
That's pretty crazy for it to be booming that much, as how everything went this year. For things to be booming is, especially in independent wrestling, that's just crazy to hear. I mean, I'm glad to hear it. It's just crazy to hear that that's what's booming right now.
Yeah, it's I've said to my main roster guys, and I've said to the students as early as Tuesday, that the pandemic has been a blessing in disguise for us, because as far as the independent scene, there's only a handful of promotions running in the entire United States. I would say maybe 10, and we're fortunate enough to be one of those 10. And we're able to do what we've been able to do because we built our own foundation and laid the bricks, and having our own venue, affords us to do a lot of things. And, we've run more shows this year during a pandemic than we did last year with no pandemic. We've run 20 live events as far as our main roster, and our semi-main roster shows go, our bi-weekly Monday night student shows. so with those included, we've probably run over 40 live events during the course of the year, and that's not even including rentals, other promotions that rent out the building, and just other forms of entertainment. So because there's so little promotions running, there's still some demand and people wanting to watch wrestling content, and people gave us a chance that were either sleeping on us before, or just because there's so much wrestling out there today that's so accessible, they just didn't have time for us. And this pandemic, again, blessing in the skies, they've given us a chance. And the one thing that has made us stick out in a day and age in 2021 now, where pro wrestling is very high spots, and everything is now. The thing that's made us stick out that people have noticed, and I hope they continue to notice, is we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're doing pro wrestling 101, stories, angles, a build, a payoff. To me, that's what I thought pro wrestling was. Pro wrestling with a purpose. And if there's no purpose behind it, there's no emotional investment in it, and there's no money to be made. I'm very, very old school with all that. So, we've been rocking and rolling, doing our thing, and we're just doing pro wrestling. When a lot of independent wrestling now is, first time ever matches, no build, no heat, and it's just matches for the sake of matches. Same thing with like the hardcore wrestling. A lot of times now is becoming violence for the sake of violence, and there's a time and place for it. But I don't know. I like having purpose in my pro wrestling.
What's funny is that we watched the day after Christmas show, and as we were watching, I said to Larry, I said, what I appreciate this is that there's stories in each little increment of the show. There's been some sort of build, and it's easy to follow along with, and you get it. And it's refreshing to see. And especially in independent wrestling, you don't see it. I'd say maybe 2 or 3 places where, locally, that you can actually see storylines from building throughout the season, I guess you want to call it. And my question is that how do you make it so that, yes, you can follow a storyline, but you still can grab other common fans? How do you make it so it's exciting to watch, and you don't necessarily need to have seen the story? And how do you make it entertaining for the people that have been following along the whole time?
I feel like the fan base that has been supporting us, you have your smart mark fans that know every intricacy of in and out of the business, and they're either going to support you or they're not going to support you. They like who they like, and they don't like who they don't like. And our crowd, especially in this area of South Jersey, ICW's running here, GCW's has been in Atlantic City last night and tonight, and we're right in Williamstown, right in the middle of both of them. And we're not far from South Philly, where all the extreme heritage comes from. Our fans is a mix of the smart mark fans. Then you have the casual viewer, and we have some fans that have been coming since day one that just like to support the local promotion. So our fans are of all walks of life, and I think, again, we're not insulting intelligence, and like you said, it's very easy stories to grasp, and because we're just doing basic pro wrestling formula. That's it is, and it should be easy to grasp, because it shouldn't be convoluted storylines that don't make sense, or or just disinterest to you. We're keeping it simple, we're keeping it basic, simple and subtle, but our execution of all those angles and stories have been done good, and that's a credit to the talent. And with it, because the booking is, as you spoke of, there's not a lot of bookers anymore, and I think that's the big difference. There's matchmakers now, but anybody could be a matchmaker, anybody could be an armchair quarterback, a booking takes time and effort. You know, right now, just today we announced we're doing a doubleheader on January 23rd. You know, a lot of those angles we're building up from the last show. New stuff is going to start. You know, I'm probably going to write these 2 cards probably 4 or 5 times over the next few weeks until I really feel it and I see as far as the flow of the card. You know, especially the Christmas show that just happened. You know, you have 9 matches on a card where 8 of them are gimmick matches. And you tell someone that's, you know, booking them today, you know, oh, how can you book a card and still have a flow of peaks and valleys and ups and downs and emotion and all this and amongst all the violence? And you can. There was you know, definitely a rhyme and reason for everything that happened at the Nightmare After Christmas show. And, you know, we started lighthearted with, you know, Santa Claus and G Raver. And then we ended the night with a Christmas present that was given to us by the men from Ohio we're currently feuding with. So we're just keeping continuity. I think just people appreciate the time and effort and that are put into the angles. They're not insulting your intelligence. You can follow along, and you're gonna, you know, all we want is for you to emotionally invest, so you continue to buy a ticket and come see us live at the building, or subscribe to IWTV and watch us live. And that platform has been huge for us, as far as, you know, that blessing in the skies. That platform changed the game for a lot of us, and, you know, it's exciting as we head into 2021.
I mean, I know we're supposed to hate them, but the one thing that I do appreciate about 440H is that they do the angle of, you're supposed to hate them, and they know that, and they are very, very good at getting people, especially RSP. Ricky Shane Page is like, I feel like he's coming to his own. When he was that purebred baby face in CZW, I think he's firing on all cylinders now.
Yep.
He's the #1 heel in the business on an independent level, or even I would throw his name in there on a national level. You know, there was a reason, many reasons why I reached out to him to be my opponent for my last match, you know, back in October when I retired. And we were able to, you know, change the narrative of what's been really going on lately, because I do actually see companies doing more story now, because over those 2 months of September and October, building that match, not only did we build it here, we were able to build the story of a match that happened at H2O at several other wrestling promotions. We did a spot at IWA Mid-South in Indiana. We did a spot at ICW, and, you know, people worked together and we built all that up. And it's definitely a good thing to see. But Ricky's #1. The whole group getting heat is a lost art. I'm only 31, but I'm a very old school wrestling fan. Memphis, world class, you name it, all the good shit. And it's a lost art. And man, if you can get heat and get heat today, because everybody wants to be the cool bad guy, but they still want to sell their T-shirts. But if your work in the ring is that good and you can generate and get that heat, you don't have to worry about selling those T-shirts, because they're going to pay you the money you need to be paid because you're doing your job right. And people are scared in 2021 to be a legitimate heel. And that's not being an asshole to the fans, you know, outside of it like some. It's just in the ring doing, you know, one-on-one pro wrestling and just being a good heel. And the chase is always in the baby face to the, you know, working with the heel, whether it's a title or whatever. But it's a lost art, and you need that dichotomy of face and a heel, and getting heat and is the best thing in the world, because heat will draw money. And Ricky Shane Page and I did that in October, and, you know, right now we're planting seeds and, you know, throwing a little water on those seeds over the next few months. And, you know, we got a long-term vision for the entire thing. And it's what's keeping me excited, though I'm not in the ring no more. Like, I'm excited now more than ever, just to, book and be creative, and to see these things come to fruition over the next 6 months to a year. But yeah, RSP and Fool 4-0, they're doing something right, and they're pretty damn good at what they're doing.
Yeah, they really don't. You don't have to worry about selling T-shirts if you're doing your work as a bad guy so good that you're going to get booked and booked and booked, because you're going to be working top faces everywhere.
Yeah,
you're going to be working every promotion's top face because you're that good at what you do. So who the fuck cares if you're selling T-shirts?
Yeah.
That would just. I mean, I know money's money and everybody wants it, but I mean, if you're getting booked, that means you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And Matt, you also
yes.
said about, and you touched on your retirement, and you had this tour that you did, and I'm kind of curious of all those matches, and maybe it was the RSP match to finish it off, but I know like one we enjoyed by far out of all of them was the tag match you did with you and Effie against Team Tremendous, which had everything. It had everything. I mean, coming out, them singing to Effie's song, to you dancing to the song, to then comedy in the ring, then going right to hardcore. It had storytelling and everything. So for us, it was one of our favorite matches of that tour. But do you have a favorite match?
It'd be tough because, on the list.
Different.
They really are. And on the list of reasons of why I retired, my physical well-being wasn't one of them. Like, I feel the best I've felt in probably 2-3 years. And I was having some of my best matches and best stories I ever fucking told in 15 years in those last, 2 months. And I think there was 13 or 14 matches. And each one had story, each one had purpose. Because we're storytellers, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. And 5 or 6 of those matches were against my students, and all those meant so much to me to be able to work some of my kids on the way out. The match with Alex Colon at Joey Janela's spring break, I got there that day and had no idea we were the main event on a stacked independent card like that with the talent from all around the country there. When I looked at the run sheet and I saw we were main event, I already knew it was a big show, a big match, and, had to go out there and deliver. And then once I saw it was the main event, I'm like, all right, got to put our big boy pants on tonight. And I feel like, my match with Ricky was damn near perfect, and so was Alex Colon. They were 2 of my best storytelling death matches in my career, and a testament to them as well. I wanted to go out, working with some of the best to see if I could still hang, and out of all the matches on the tour, those 2 definitely stick out the most. Even I worked John Wayne Murdoch at IWA Mid-South. That was a crazy match. Each place that I worked for had purpose. I wanted to work for promotions that meant something to me, and I wanted to work with guys that I had a good rapport with, that I had history with, or I didn't wrestle at all, and it was a first-time match. Eddie Only was one of those at ICW. Again, a 4-4-0. It worked well with the story, and his heel work's incredible. He's very underrated as far as his character stuff. And we were the main event of that ICW show, and there was probably 6 or 7 matches before us that did everything under the sun as far as the violence, light tubes, glass, tables, barbed wire, everything. And when you go out there in the main event, you're like, what are you going to do? And we did what really not too many other people were doing today, and you work the crowd and you do your character stuff. And we had a very Memphis style death match, and I was doing atomic drops and throwing light tubes, and it went over fantastic. And again, a testament to his character and his body of work, and the story that we told. And man, it would be hard to pick one. I'm going to have to put all 14 together as one and say they were all fantastic and they were all my favorite.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair to do. I mean, as a farewell tour, they're all every single one of them is gonna mean something differently, and as a whole, it just means the most. That makes sense.
Mhm.
And I think with some fans that don't get into deathmatch, I think the main thing is that they can't get past the blood and they can't get past the why is it? They want to know why this is happening. And I think when it's done right, you're either able to feel the emotion, like the matches you were talking about, especially you and RSP. Like there was a lot of emotion. I know that was your last match, and that was probably large part, but you're able to see like there's purpose for everything. There's not just you can see past the blood and past the light tubes, past the tables, past the barbed wire, all that, and you could see them. You could see fighting for a reason.
Without purpose, I just feel like, I'm just going out there and wrestling. I need something I need a story to sink my teeth into, to get motivated, to get creative. And man, the match with Alex was emotional. And then the biggest thing overall, those bigger matches, especially with Alex and RSP, all three of us had a intertwining bond and relationship with Danny Havoc. If it wasn't for Danny Havoc, neither of the three of us, our careers probably wouldn't have been what they were, what they still are for those guys. And man, they're super emotional. Especially with RSP. It was the last match. That whole weekend, it was all of us that have grieved for the last 4 months. It was okay. I think we can all, try to move on now. We paid tribute, paid homage, crowned the champion. And then I added my retirement to the whole weekend, and it was a crazy emotional. Danny Havoc's family was there, his mother-in-law, his brother-in-law, cousins, and H2O is our locker room's a big family. Never no drama, no issues, and like everyone tied their boots on a little tighter that weekend and really put forth an effort. It was emotional. There were so many people here for so many different reasons and so many different purposes. And that last match was very therapeutic as well. As crazy as it sounds, like I wouldn't have done all the glass and the violent stuff for all these years if I didn't like it, as crazy as that sounds. But I don't like pain. I don't enjoy blood and anything like that. But man, the violent storytelling I loved and thrived in. And that last match was just me selling. I hit one move. You tell that to a super indie wrestler today, and you tell them they can only hit one move, they're going to cry wolf because they can't hit 10 Canadian destroyers. I hit one Samoan drop. I sold and just told a story with, my facials and mannerisms and body language and a lot of verbal communication. We're yelling at each other, saying very impactful, meaningful, emotional things. And that's part of the story, part of the theatrics and what we do. And, we won we got nominated on IWTV, to win match of the year and then moment of the year. That just an extra cherry on top of to solidify, like, all right, this is pro wrestling. We're doing it right. The deathmatch art may not be everybody's cup of tea, but at least we can, try to show them that it's more than just the blood and guts. It's another genre of the game. And, our canvas is just a little more bloodier than others.
There's a little bit more red on there. Now, during the tour, was there any person or any match that is the one that got away? Is there one that you really wanted for that tour that you didn't get?
Off the top of my head, I feel like I worked everyone that I really wanted to work with for the promotions that I was able to, work with. Again, all this happened during a pandemic. would have I liked to have one more match at CZW, one of my homes over the years? Yeah. But I'm not losing no sleep over it. I worked for the right promotions and wrestled the right people. I think the only thing I wish wasn't going on, it wasn't amongst the pandemic and to that tour and able to go to Japan and stuff one more time. But the biggest thing was I wanted to work my kids, and I was able to work quite a few of them on the way out, and that meant the biggest thing to me in the grand scheme of things, aside from the Alex match and the RSP match. To be able to have, Reed Walker is one of my kids, and I had his debut match, and his debut match was a part of my tour. And a couple of the kids' matches were, so that meant a lot. And because, the students now I live vicariously through, and, they keep me motivated to wake up every day to still be a part of this crazy business called pro wrestling.
I'll tell you what, Matt, the one thing I know we were wishing for weeks on end while it was going on is that open invitational that Cody Rhodes had and the social media beat that you were putting out there wanting to face it. And every week waiting to see who it was, we were praying that we saw you come down that aisle to answer it. And unfortunately didn't get to see that.
I called him out quite a few years ago. Met him on 2 occasions, spoke here at my building. I won't go into too detail because I, don't know how much they wanted that, kayfabe, but at the time, he was Ring of Honor NWA champion. And they were in Philly for something, and spoke and discussed. And then after that, it just, I did the Twitter thing and put some tweets out and stuff. And overall, I probably could have put a little more work into it if I really truly wanted it. We were able to make Onita happen because of the, promos and me in front of a camera. And that's the best thing I do. I tell people I don't do a bunch of moves. I got a Memphis right hand, and I can talk you into the seats. And I feel like if I was able to get to that point, maybe that could have been the thing to edge them on to want to bring me in and do something. No regrets at all in my career. The one thing I wanted to do that I was unable to do was do something on national television. But I feel like even without doing that, the body of work that was able to, put forth all these years, internationally and domestically, without television, I was able to, build a pretty good name over the years, and just being a dude from South Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk to wrestling fans in our area, in this area, you're one of the top names that comes up. I mean, just because of the work that you did for, your own company, GCW, CZW. I mean, you're one of the top independent names around here. So you must have been doing something right this whole time.
Pretty crazy and surreal to think about it. That, I tell my kids a lot of times, like, and I think I said it during the retirement thing, like, I don't walk around as the Bulldozer. I'm just Matt Tremont, normal dude like everybody else. Separated this world and real life world. And so when I, hear things, when people say like legend and icon, like I appreciate it. But like, I don't ever, I ain't getting off with all that, that I appreciate it. But, and it's surreal because, one of my students, Gigi Everson, he's, I think 20 years old now. And he messaged me when he was 15, because when he enrolled in the school 2 years ago when we opened it, he told me when he was I didn't even have a school when he was 15. It was over 5 years ago. He's like, if you ever have a wrestling school, I'm going there because I'm a fan of you and you've made me want to be a pro wrestler. And the first day we opened H2O in 2018, the school, he was there. And now he's killing it and on the main roster. and with Stockade and his group. Which so all that is surreal stuff, and it's greatly appreciated, and it's cool to look back on.
Yeah, but not only that, but now you bring your eyes that have been following you throughout your career. Now you bring them to H2O, so you're kind of giving all your kids and your roster your shine. Like your shine is now their shine, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about giving the rub, as they say in the business.
How many people still do that?
Not as many as you think, or willingly. Because but that's how the business evolves. If Necro Butcher didn't put me over in the first round of Tournament of Death 10 years ago, who knows where my trajectory would have went, what path I would have went down. You gotta do good business. You gotta put the next generation coming up over, so the business continue to be a business and evolve, so we can keep doing something we enjoy, hopefully make a few bucks while we're doing it, and do right by the business, and keep doing what we got to do. So it's definitely people. There's a lot of marks out there, and a lot of them are in the business, and because they can't separate it. It comes off like an individual sport, pro wrestling, but supposed to work together, do business together, to prosper and make money, and again, do something you enjoy to do, and try to make a living at it. But it's working together. I think. And that doesn't happen as often anymore, because everybody just wants to start a revolution, or it's a big dick swinging contest with everybody. I don't cares about being number one in a fake world. I don't care about that. All I want to do is grow especially where I'm at now, just grow the promotion, and just to be able to, all right, as we grow, make a little bit more money, so I can pay the boys even more at the end of the day, and take care of them. And if they're taken care of, and I'm taken care of, and I'm happy, so are them. And that cycle just keeps going on and on and on. It's not hard. It's not a rocket science business. It's very simple. A lot of people make it out to be rocket science, and it's because 9 times out of 10, they're just out for themselves. There's not too many unselfish people in a selfish business.
Now, you talked about teamwork and growing the company. Now, have you ever thought about joining forces for a couple shows with another promotion, or running co-promotion events? Is that something you thought of, or?
I've had we've done some small stuff. With a few promotions over the years, nothing of a grander scale as far as like a show, but we've worked together behind the scenes. Nothing's ever been presented or on the table to, do business together. But at the same time, even before I started running H2O, and, now that, running it for almost 5 years now, I don't step on no toes. I stay in my lane. I don't want to rock off nobody else's shine. And I like doing everything in-house and building it and laying our own bricks to build our own foundation. We're building to the point to get to that level to do business with other promotions. But I want to get to that level first and be comfortable where we are, and do it our way, and do it the right way, and not the carny way like a lot of other places. And then once we're there and business is good and we can take care of ourselves, and then we can branch off and do business, with other promotions, and do, collaborations and joint shows and stuff like that. So it's definitely something, foresight to maybe possibly do in the future. Right now, I'm going to lay our bricks until we get there.
I mean, the stronger your roster gets, the more dream match scenarios you can get with someone else. Because that's what people talk about. That's what, if you go on social media and whatnot, people talk about dream matches all the time. Like, what if this person were able to work together? Like, I think people want to see it so badly that I don't know what they would do if they actually got it. Like if you got a co-promotion show or whatnot. Like I feel like it would be like a new trend. And then you run into the risk of like, all right, well now everyone's doing it, and now we lost our roots.
That's what happens a lot in the wrestling business, with many things. People are gonna, there's so many companies now that don't have an identity because every company's doing the same thing. Every company's using the same guys. And do I want the boys to get bookings and make their money? 100%. We're independent contractors. We're just trying to do our thing. And I guess the one thing that the appeal of H2O, and not to blow smoke up our ass, is if you look at our roster, a lot of those guys, you can, at least in this area of tri-state area, you can only see at H2O. And that's a betterment to us because, if I want to see, Jimmy Lyon and Mark Angel and Chuck Payne and even Ron Mathis and his guys, they're all the way from Ohio. You can only, in this area, that you can only see them at H2O, which has been, invaluable to us, since the beginning of the company. So, and it's only helped us, and more now, especially in the last 6 months, we're growing and I see the numbers growing. Now more than ever, if get everybody on the same page on the main roster to invest in what we're doing, the goal is to, be running 4 or 5 shows a month, running different counties in New Jersey and South Jersey, and, doing house shows to build to the pay-per-views here at the center, and, branching off and running in other states. Like for the first 4 years of the company, it was just fun. But I want to get to the next level now, and it's exciting to see. And I know it's going to be a lot of work, but I think every show that's passed since August, there's been progression, and we've grown in some department, and it's just exciting because I want to be able to the same things I was able to appreciate and have in the business. I want our guys on this roster to do those things, go to Japan. I'm very fortunate. I don't have a high school diploma. I dropped out my senior year of high school. I knew I didn't need that piece of paper in order to be successful in life because I was going to be a professional wrestler. A little luck along the way, I was able to make a decent living on an independent level of this business and pay my bills, live comfortably, and the wife's happy and the dog's got food in the bowl. And I want that for others on the main roster. And they can do it, and we can do it as a company, and it's just getting that investment of them to do it. And that's the exciting thing. That's why I look forward to the locker room meeting before we go live on IWTV, and I thank IWTV every show for that platform. I go over the card and then I hype everybody up because for the first time in almost 5 years we've been running, to see it start paying off a little bit and to actually see growth, it's exciting. And I get the same satisfaction or feeling out of booking a good card and seeing the boys bring it to life to the, same thing to when I had a good match. So, I guess the old adage of when you break into the business, you train where you train, but you're only going to develop and get better if you go outside of your bubble and travel and do this and do that. I did all that. I don't want to travel no more. I want to stay in my bubble, and I want to make this bubble, whatever it can be on a positive way for everyone else here, to gain something from it, emotionally, whatever. So yeah, I'm excited for 2021 and what we're doing, here at H2O.
Now, speaking of 2021 and what you guys are doing something that not many other promotions or companies have done, and you're doing a dedicated women's show. It's to crown a queen of the death match.
Yeah, pretty much Queen of the Kingdom, Queen of the Death Matches. All the same, just a different moniker on top of it.
Now, how is it booking a show like that, and how many women are going to come from that match or from that card? Now, is there a lot of women death match wrestlers?
There's only a handful of quality, good women pro wrestlers that can dabble in the hardcore deathmatch, extreme world, ultraviolet world, whatever you want to call it and label you want to give it. H2O has run 2 shows in our existence that were called WH2O, Women's Hardcore Hustle Organization, on 2 separate occasions. It's like our sister promotion. And those were two very successful events that just gave us another branch off of our umbrella to show people. And the Queen of the Kingdom, we've wanted to do for some time. Queen of the Death matches have been done before, countless other promotions over the years, but it just truly never had the right field of the elite or the best women in the genre. And I think that's the motivation in doing this, is getting the right probably 8 women together, the baddest broads in the business, and let them do their thing. And as we promote it, every kingdom needs a queen, and we will find out who is the most hardcore, later this year in 2021.
Now, have any names been announced yet?
Nothing yet, but right, our one lady that's been killing it and on our shows on the regular is Miss Tara Calloway, the Queen of the Dinosaurs, and the Queen of the Dinosaurs is looking to become Queen of the Kingdom, I would say, and when the tournament rolls around.
Very nice. That would have been my first guess as well.
Yeah,
because I did notice that she had her match with Kid Osborne, and Kid Osborne is very underrated in his heel work, his character work. Very, very underrated. He's an easy guy to hate.
Very. He's he can get some heat.
yeah.
And you mentioned heat earlier, and how people tend to not be able to generate genuine heat. Like, it's usually all cheap heat, and there's very few that have been able to do it and perfect it or get it as close to as possible. Now, do you guys teach that or preach that, or do you try to find anyone that is able to do that? Are you trying to breed any more heat getters, heat seekers?
When it comes to, I guess, like the character development, and when it to help the students pick a gimmick or become something, most start out as a baby face in the business, I guess, or at least here, and then over time, if they're feeling being a baby face, or if it wasn't working, we'll try the heel route. A lot of the early infancies and stages of such and such person in the business is a lot of trial and error, and to see what you're good at, and then once you're good at what you do, it's accentuating those positives and hiding the negatives. I think out of all the students, at least here, everyone has started out as a baby face, I think, except 1 or 2 kids, and I have 47 students enrolled in the school right now. I think Gigi Everson, who recently turned heel, and Gigi is less than 2 years in. He's probably had 50, 60 matches now, and was a great baby face. And once we turned him heel, his first heel match, I believe, was and first big match was with G Raver at our Mystery Violence Theater event in early December. And watching the match, he was working and moving around the ring and just doing all the things that you should be doing, like he's a 20-year vet. And it's what it's a good feeling, and it's with a lot of our kids, and because they just been exceeding expectations and blowing my mind half the damn time. I'm like, I wasn't this good at 2 years in. I sucked. These kids are just so good. I mean, I guess a pat on the back to the teachers here, but a testament to their hard work and just listening. And no, I think that's the biggest thing. Just listen and be a sponge. Take in what you want to take in, process it how you want to process it, and, use something from it. And, let it be organic. People want to plan too much or think about too much. Just let things happen and listen to the crowd. I know it's a lot of things that old school wrestlers say, but I feel like I was like one of the last generations that really did listen and, don't look at it as, oh, he's just an old vet and he's bitter and all this. No, all that shit they said all these years, it still works. And that's what we're doing here. And, being a good heel, that's, a part of it. Everyone wants to shoot nowadays and, try to outsmart the smart fan. That gets old after a while. Jimmy Lyon, one of our top guys now in H2O, was a long heel his whole career, heel the whole time he's been here at H2O, but was always shooting on something, bringing up something personal. That shtick gets old after a while. And I told him, and he became stagnant, and he wasn't on every show. I could only plug him in when I felt it was right. And then what changed the game for him, I'm like, stop shooting and just be a good heel. Just get heat. Be creative. Don't go the cheap heat route. Ron Mathis is the best heel in the business besides Ricky Shane Page. Why? Because he's not scared to be a chicken shit Memphis heel in 2021. And he's been killing it. And he's been with us since the third show, and he's been a heel the entire time. And he's been a Memphis chicken shit heel the entire time. And he gets heat. I don't ever have to tell him anything before. Most of the time when he gets here for the shows and we're going over what we're doing, I don't have to give him anything, bullet points most of the time. I just tell him to do your thing and get heat. And he knows what he's doing, and I have that trust in him to go out there and do his job because he does his job very well. And, Chando made that turn in him when he stopped shooting, just started getting heat. And now he's a baby face because he wound up having good matches and got sympathy from the crowd. And, now he's over, and he don't even know why half the times, but he's doing something right. But, I wish there were, a lot more heels in the business. And heat's, you need heat. If you ain't got heat, get out of the wrestling ring.
So
those chicken shit heels always had the best facial expressions.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. Before we do let you go, because we want to get you back to class. Whatever is coming up, we'll let everybody know, and the shows that are coming up to look forward to.
Awesome. Nightmare After Christmas was our last event we had last weekend. That's available on demand on IWTV. If you're a first-time subscriber, use that promo code HUSTLE for a free trial. And we kick off 2021 on Saturday, January 23rd, right here at the H2O Wrestling Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. And we've done a lot of shows back-to-back weekends, but for the first time, we're doing 2 shows in one day, deadly doubleheader, Saturday, January 23rd, at 2 o'clock doors, 2:30 bell. It will be a show entitled "You Shouldn't Have Done That." And when that live event proceeds and then comes to a close, we'll kick everybody out, clean up, and do it all over again at 8 o'clock when we present No Pity for the Weak. And waiting to hear back from logistics and all that to see if we'll be live, and I hopefully we'll be streaming on IWTV, and we're going to do our thing, and we're going to tell a lot of stories that day because a lot of things have been building up. And the big part is the main event of night 2. Chuck Payne and Ron Mathis, we have been building to since September, has come to a head, and that's a big match, and I'm looking forward to it very much. And so if you're in the area, we've only announced one match, and tickets are more than half gone when they went on reservation just a few hours before this broadcast. So, which is good. And another just instance of the growth of the company. Sometimes in the beginning, it would take almost a whole week or more to, get those tickets all gone. Now it's a day or so, which is pretty cool.
So, Matt,
it's really a testament to what you guys are doing.
We're trying. I'm trying.
well, I mean, it's such a fun promotion to watch. And like we said before, the storytelling, it's evident. As soon as you watch a minute of H2O, it's fun to watch. Old school wrestling, storytelling, but still have violence. You still have regular wrestling, everything combined. So we want to thank you for that. Thank you for all the years of wrestling, entertaining us. It's been a blast watching you and seeing you at CZW, GCW, and everything we've seen you at. And thank you for taking the time and just talking with us tonight.
No problem at all. I'm glad we made it happen. I think I talked a little bit more, but that's why I asked Chuck Payne to come here, and because I told him I'd probably start yapping and I would go a little longer than it was intended to. But I had a blast. I appreciate the platform and to be able to talk about H2O and talk with you guys this evening. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank